Our next speaker is Dale Rankine. So Dale is the co-founder and chief executive officer of Reekoh IoT. Dale has been part of the Australian digital industry for over 2 decades as a designer, developer, serial entrepreneur, investor, evangelist, and mentor. I don't think there's any other roles you could have actually done there. Dale's deep subject matter knowledge and hands-on experience across mobile, cloud, and IoT has been central to assisting numerous startups, enterprise, and consumer companies in strategy design, development, and go-to-market of new digital products and experiences. Please welcome Dale. Dale.
Thank you. You try and make those intros sound as impressive as possible because you're not quite sure how impressive the room is going to be. Obviously, that's a quite impressive room this afternoon. Thank you very much for having us. My name's Dale from Reekoh. It's great to see in this particular innovator panel section of this afternoon such a wide variety of companies and of solutions and pieces to the puzzle. And I think if anything today, you'll realise that whether it be smart cities or IoT in general, it is a puzzle. And I think there's great opportunity for innovators and for startups and for companies within Australia particularly to fill those various pieces of the puzzle, because it's going to take all of us together to realise some of these lofty ambitions that we have for what it can mean for our society and for our cities and for our lives moving forward. So this is another piece of the puzzle. So we've had hardware, we've had network. We're on the software side of things. So Reekoh is an IoT application integration platform, and we've named it such a mouthful because we're trying to narrow down within the generic IoT cloud segment what it actually is that we do. If you go and have just a search on Google, there will be literally hundreds of products on the market right now that call themselves an IoT cloud or an IoT platform. Many of them do pretty much the same thing. They ingest the data, they give you some visualization of it, they store it for you, they secure it for you, and they say, here's our API if you really want to do something else with it. And that's great, and there's many of them that are particularly useful for use cases that are out there today. The approach that we've taken as, I guess, entrepreneurs and serial startup guys within the enterprise software as a service space is to take a system integration approach and say we wanted to provide a platform which was able to scale and expand via integration, which is in terms of sort of modern software development. Nobody's releasing any software right now without an API attached to it. So we're taking the API approach. We've created a marketplace and an ecosystem for the distribution of those plugins and those integrations. It's not just about what we want to plug into, but about what you might want to plug into. And so we've built our platform to be as scalable as that marketplace can be. And what we're particularly focusing on is enterprise SaaS platforms. Our plugin store is our value proposition within the platform. As I said, there's many IoT cloud platforms out there. And we do a certain amount of the same types of activities in terms of device management, device authentication. We've got integrations into things like Jasper so that you can provision and deprovision within other tools and other systems and have that automatically flow through to authentication on Reekoh's device management layer. But then beyond that is what you want to be able to do with that data. And we've already seen a huge number of opportunities and things that you might want to do, systems you might want to plug that into, whether that be analytics or machine learning or just data visualization. So our plugin store is kind of like our go-to-market strategy. So as a startup, we are looking for ways to be able to accelerate our growth into a particular space. So our plugin store is as much about a marketing and a go-to-market strategy for us as it is around technical architecture. But our platform and our product, as I said, allows you to manage your devices that are connecting to the Reekoh server that you spin up in the cloud. That data may be coming to Reekoh over Sigfox or over any of the mobile networks or Wi-Fi. Our view of a piece of hardware is actually just the data packet that we receive. So we're working with, leave it to guys like Simon to build the absolute best of breed, power efficient device that you can put out into the field. From our perspective, we're really concerned with receiving that data securely, being able to then mix that with data that we receive from a wide variety of devices in the field, because it's unlikely that one particular deployment or one solution is going to have the same device out there. You might have different types of devices communicating over different networks for different reasons. We can unify that data into the Reekoh platform, do some tricky things around data conversion and filtering and some logic rules that you can build on that, and then allow you to design your data workflow. So we support a lot of the major cloud platforms. We're partners with Microsoft and Salesforce and ServiceNow. We also work with a lot of the cloud tools and services like messaging platforms like Twilio or other services that you might want to use in conjunction with the device data. One of the examples we use a lot is in a vehicle tracking scenario. The device from the vehicle is sending back a latitude and a longitude pair to say this is where the truck was. But in the event of an accident, which you can detect from the accelerometer and those types of data points from the tracker, we can receive that event, and in the event of that being sort of flagged in the data, we can make a call out to a weather service or a geolocation service, and we can get more contextual information about that exact spot where that incident happened at that time. And we can enrich the data that's come from the device with that additional context and information before passing it through to the business applications that are going to consume that, and whether that be a dashboard or a reporting tool or things like that. So we have a lot of really great, capabilities of working with the data prior to moving it inside of an organisation and into other business systems that may need to interact with it. So this is just a really simple sort of data flow diagram of how we see workflows within the Reekoh platform. So it's not quite as simple as sort of data in, data out, but we are a data transport, platform for managing that. So as I said, we can be subscribing to data from gateways that are coming in. We can also grab device data from other systems or other platforms that hardware may be pushing into first, and then move that through a layer of logic and of different types of connectors into different systems to really build out the full solution. Now, as I said, there's a lot of IoT platforms on the market. This one, and given our background in enterprise SaaS, this one really is targeted at the moment around system integrators, guys that are already in the market doing solutions for customers, but typically have a cloud stack or a technology stack that they do that on. So whether that be a bunch of Salesforce solution providers and SIs or Microsoft or around a particular grouping of technologies. This is really great for them because they don't have to move away from providing solutions in the technologies that they know and understand and are already commercializing. But we can add the IoT capability to many of these solutions very simply just by allowing them to install the plugins that work with the particular stack that they have. So we are a startup. We got our first revenue from customers into the bank account last week, so we have a milestone for us. Are you? And interestingly, it's all overseas revenue for us at the moment. So we are working with some partners here to develop some commercial relationships. But our first paying customers, one was in the Philippines and one was in India. We have probably about 4 or 5 other countries represented in our pipeline at the moment. And I think that kind of speaks to the global nature of the IoT opportunity, that it's not something that's limited to a particular hub, a particular part of the world. Everywhere, right from, I think it has probably the greatest impact in some of the more lower socioeconomic countries and the greatest ability to change people's lives in those spaces. And because of the cost of technology, because of the waves of computing from mobility through to cloud, through to the what we can do now in terms of on the hardware side of things, means that it's within our grasp more than ever before. So just as a quick example, we're working with a company in the Philippines that's an energy utilities manufacturer. They build transformers, they build a lot of the pieces that the utilities companies will buy and put into the grid. And what they're doing now essentially as a value add is providing a monitoring service built into a lot of these components that they're now going to be shipping out, as well as providing some add-on components to go into the existing infrastructure. So we're working with one of them called First Philec. They've got transformers on different poles within the grid, and so they're monitoring that data now from those poles back through our platform. And the first instance of what they wanted to do was to push this into an existing business application that was running simply off a MySQL database. So what we were able to do is very quickly build that proof of concept. They were able to go into the organisation and really sell that off only running a dozen or so of these transformer boxes, going through a relatively simplistic data transport model and into an existing application. From there, the opportunity for them is to take that same data from exactly the same sensors and utilise it in different ways within the organisation to build on, to solve different business problems, to build better insights for various parts of the businesses, whether it's the services and maintenance side of things, whether it's supply and distribution, whether it's customer usage. A lot of problems or a lot of insights for an organisation across the entire board can be deferred or can be inferred and realised from exactly the same data. So we are providing them with the ability to try an approach to sell it within the organisation, and then once that's successful, which it has been, to then expand and grow without them having to sort of really change anything. At the very beginning, at the very first part of the solution, it can grow alongside them as they need to. So that's it's exciting for us to see that now in action, and we're really looking forward to seeing where that particular customer and many others go to from there. So as I said, we've been working with some really great partners. As you can see, these are predominantly big cloud vendors, guys like Amazon. We are starting to work with some hardware vendors as well as they start to be able to sort of look at how they can create more out-of-the-box connections with some of the data intelligence tools that you can provide. So Labellium in Spain has been a great partner for us so far. And then a few of the customers across, the various customer groups that we sell into, solution providers and SIs and other companies around that ecosystem. So that's a little bit about Reekoh. I'd be happy to talk to anybody afterwards. And again, thanks very much for having us this afternoon. It's been great. Cheers.